Chapter 3 MS Access and Introduction. Concept Note: a database is an organized collection of structured information or data typically stored electronically in a computer system. A database is usually controlled by a database management system or DBMS. The DBMS essentially serves as an interface between databases and users or application programs, ensuring that data is consistently organized and remains easily accessible. Learning outcomes: children will be able to understand about the database, create a new table, learn the basics of MS Access, understand field name and data type. Neha: hey Tia, have you ever wondered how all our data is organized in apps and websites? Tia: yeah, I always thought it was like magic. How does it work? Neha: it's not magic. It's a thing called a database. It's like a digital filing cabinet that stores and organizes information. Tia: that sounds cool, but how does it do that? Neha: well, databases use tables to keep everything neat. Think of a table like an Excel spreadsheet. Each row is a record and each column is a piece of information. For example, in a school database, each row would be a student's record with columns for their name, age, and grades. Tia: so it's like a big Excel sheet for apps. Neha: exactly, and databases make it easy for apps to search, add, update, and delete information. They are the backbone of many apps and websites we use every day. Tia: that's fascinating. I want to learn more about databases now. Neha: great. Let's dive into it and explore how they work and why they are so important. What is a database? A database is a collection of information that is the most essential part of an organization. For example, you must have a telephone directory in which you maintain all the contact details of your friends. The contact details would include the telephone numbers, addresses, and the email addresses of your friends. This telephone directory can be called your database. Similarly, every company also maintains information pertaining to its employees, vendors, clients, and distributors. This forms the database of that company. All the information pertaining to the employees, clients, vendors, and distributors would be maintained in that database. Apart from maintaining a database, it is also necessary to update that database regularly. This means that you need to add, delete, and update information in your database. This is called updating and maintaining a database. The basic purpose of maintaining a database is that important information is easily available and accessible in time. You do not need to hunt for the information when needed and waste your time. Advantages of using database. The main advantages of using database are as follows. Minimum data redundancy. Database system stores data at one place in the database. The data is integrated into a single logical structure. Different applications refer to the data from the centrally controlled location. The central storage of the data minimizes data redundancy. Minimum data inconsistency. It also helps us minimize data inconsistency. Updating of data values becomes simple and there is no disagreement in the stored values. For example, student home address is stored at a single location and gets updated centrally. Improvement in data sharing. Data sharing means sharing the same data among more than one user. Each user has access to the same data, though they may use it for different purposes. The database is designed to support shared data. Authorized users are permitted to use the data from the database. Users are provided with views of the data to facilitate its use. For example, the student's home address stored in the database is shared by Student Information System and Library System. Improvement in data integrity. The database you create is very important for you and it needs protection. The database is kept secured by limiting access to the database by authorized personnel. Authorized users are generally restricted as to the particular data they can access and whether they can update it or not. Access is often controlled by passwords. Standardization of data. Since the data is stored centrally, it is easy to enforce standards on the database. Standards could include naming conventions and standard for updating, accessing, and protecting data. Tools are available for developing and enforcing standards. Components of a database. In a database, data is stored in a database file. Data may be arranged in tables related to one another. Field. Field refers to a data table in the database. Record. Record refers to a group of related fields. For example, an employee record includes a set of fields about one employee. Table. Tables are the places where all the information in your database is stored in the form of rows or records in columns or fields. Table structure. A table structure is created before creating any table that identifies the name, size, and types of various fields. Data sheet. By default, each table appears as a spreadsheet grid called a database. You can enter data directly into a data sheet. Form. Forms are similar to a common form containing the fields you create in a data table for entries and used to make data entry more conveniently. An attractively formatted form is easier and more pleasant to use to enter new records, only certain fields or both. Queries. You can create a query which is like a saved filter. Queries also enable you to combine data from multiple related tables into a single data sheet of results. Reports. Reports present data from tables and queries in an attractive, customizable format, complete with titles, headers and footers, and even logos and graphics. Microsoft Access 2016. Microsoft Access or MS Access is a relational database management system, RDBMS. This means that MS Access can create, modify, and maintain databases. It can also draw a relationship between various databases. Any information retrieved using this particular software will be complete and retrieved from all the databases. It is because of these reasons and feasibility, MS Access has become one of the most popular used RDBMS all over the world. Using MS Access, you can create tables, queries, forms, and reports and connect them together with macros. It also has report creation features that can work with any data source that Access can access. Starting MS Access 2016. To start MS Access, follow the given steps. Click Start. Scroll All Programs list. Click on Access. The Access window opens up. Creating a blank database. From the Access window, click on Blank Database. Type a name for the database in the File Name box. Click on Create. Access automatically assign the .accbd or Access Database extension to all database files. Components of Microsoft Access window. The components of MS Access window are given below. Title bar. It displays the name of currently opened database. File tab. It displays the backstage view of file commands such as new and open. Quick Access toolbar. It displays quick access buttons to the save, undo and redo commands. Ribbon. It displays groups of related commands in tabs. Each tab offers shortcut button to common tasks. Database object. An Access database has 4 main objects: tables, queries, forms, and reports. These objects are displayed in the navigation pane. Navigation pane. It lists all available database objects. Creating a new table in Datasheet view. Datasheet view allows you to create a table and then add new fields simply by typing the field names into the column heading placeholders. Datasheet view is good when you need a quick table consisting of just a few fields. To create a table using datasheet view, follow the given steps. Click on the Create tab on the ribbon. Click on the Table option. MS Access will open a new table in datasheet view. Double-click the column header to create a field name. Type a name for the field. Press Enter key from the keyboard. Click on the next column and click to add a new field. Select the data type for the field. Example, select short text if you want to add the name to the field. Type a name for the field. Repeat steps 5 to 7 to create more fields for the table. If you want to resize a column, you can drag the column border left or right. Tech corner. Access automatically creates an ID field with the table. You can rename this if required. Type a name for the field. Repeat steps 5 to 7 to create more fields for the table. If you want to resize a column, you can drag the column border left or right. Click inside the first field of the first row and type the data to enter the first records. Press Tab key. Type the next field's data. Repeat the steps 9 and 10 to complete the record. When you reach the last field, you can press Enter to start a new record. Creating a new table in Design View. Design View allows you to create a new table with the exact fields that we want. In Design View, the window is divided into two panes. Top pane for creating field names, specify field types, and enter field descriptions, and button pane for specifying field properties. When you create a table in Design View, you must indicate the following. Field name. It contains the name of the field that represents the contents of the field, such as name, address, city, etc. Each field name should have a unique name and it cannot exceed 64 characters in length. Data type. Each field has a data type that defines what you can store in it. Data entry is restricted to valid entries for the type you choose, which helps prevent data entry errors. For example, you cannot enter letters in a field set to number, and you must enter valid dates or times in a date or time field. Data type, usage, size, auto number. It is a unique value generated by Access for each new record, 4 bytes. Number, it stores numeric data, 1, 2, 4, 8 or 16 bytes. Short text, it stores alphanumeric data, that is names, titles, etc. up to 255 characters. Long text, it stores large amounts of alphanumeric data such as sentences and paragraphs up to about 1 gigabyte, GB. Date or time, it stores dates and times, 8 bytes. Currency, it stores monetary data stored with 4 decimal places of precision, 8 bytes. Yes or no, it stores Boolean true or false data. Access stores the numeric value 0 for false and -1 for true, 1 byte. Hyperlink, it is a link addressed to a document or file on the internet or an intranet on a local area network, LAN, or on your local computer, up to 8,192 characters. Attachment. You can attach files such as pictures, documents, spreadsheets or charts up to about 2 GB. Description. You can enter a detailed description of the field in Access. To create a new table in Design View, follow the given steps. Open the database and click on Create tab on the ribbon. The Table Design tab will appear under Table Tools on the top of title bar. In the field name column, type the name of the first field, for example, employee_ID. Press the tab key to bring the insertion point to the data type field. The insertion point advances to the data type column, indicating you can enter the data type. The word short text, one of the possible data types, is currently displayed. To change the data type, click on the drop-down arrow and change the data type as per your choice. When you select as per your choice the data type, its properties will be displayed in the lower pane. Press the Tab key to move the insertion point to the description column. Type your text as the description in description column. Press the Tab key again to move to the field name column in the second row and type the text in the column. Repeat the steps 6 and 7 to make the remaining entries. The table is now complete. Setting primary key. A primary key refers to the field which contains unique value for each record that helps us differentiate the records in a file. For example, the data stored in a key field would use employee ID as a key field because it uniquely identifies each employee. In each new table that you create, you'll want to set one field as the primary key. MS Access uses this key to relate this table's records to those in another table. To set a primary key, follow the given steps. Right-click on the employee _ID field. Select primary key from the drop-down list opens. This makes the field a primary key field. You will see a little key icon to the left of the ID which indicates the primary key field. Note: Access will automatically generate a number each time a new record is created. Understanding field properties. Each field has a set of properties that defines and controls it. These properties include basics such as its size and format, as well as rules for entries in it. When a field is selected in Design View, its properties appear in the Properties pane. General tab. The General tab contains most of the properties you will work with. Lookup tab. The Lookup tab is primarily used for setting up lookup lists. Drop-down list. Some properties have drop-down list. Click the arrow to open the drop-down list. Property information. When the insertion point is in Properties box, information about the property appears here. Yes or no properties. Some properties represent yes or no questions. These are typically already filled in for you with default values. Saving and closing the table. After you have created the structure of the table, now it's time to save the table in the database. You should give a name to the table before saving it. Once you have saved the table, you can continue working in the table window or close the window. To save a table, follow the given steps. Click on the Save button on the Quick Access toolbar. The Save As dialog box will appear. Type the name in the table name box. Click on the OK button. MS Access saves the table and the table name appears in the Object tab. To close a table, follow the given steps. Click on the Close button to close the table. Adding records to a table. The table must be open so that the records can be added to the table. The table is displayed in Datasheet view. To add records to a table, follow the given steps. Double-click on table employee _personal _details in the database window. Type the ID number of the first employee _ID field. Press the Tab key to complete other entries for the employee _ID 1001. Type the following entries pressing the Tab key after each one to complete the record. After typing the last entry, contact number, press the Tab key. The insertion point comes to the ID field in the second row. Add the remaining records following the same steps as you used to add the first recording, steps 2 to 4. Fact Corner. In Datasheet view, the table is represented as a collection of rows and columns called Datasheet. Closing a database. When we close a database, MS Access window remains open. In Access, you can open many databases at the same time. Closing a database frees up your computer's memory. To close a database, follow the given steps. Click on File tab. The File menu will open. Click on Close Database option. The File menu stays open and the new command becomes selected. Opening a database file. To open the database you have created, follow the given steps. Click on the File tab. Click on Open option and then click on the Browse button. The Open dialog box will appear. Click here and to navigate to a different location. Click on the name of the file that you want to open. Click on Open button. Flashback. MS Access is a relational database management system, RDBMS, and can create, modify, and maintain databases. MS Access window has several components such as title bar, ribbon, navigation pane, etc. Using MS Access, tables, queries, forms, and reports can be created and can be connected with macros. A database is a collection of information which is the most essential part of an organization. The basic purpose of maintaining a database is easily availability and accessibility in time. Navigation pane helps to view database objects such as tables, queries, reports, and forms. Saving and closing the table is important in database.